Let's play a what if game. What would you do if you knew that some kind of catastrophe had happened or was about to happen in the city? I'll give some examples and let us know, would you decide to evacuate or stay put to see what would happen? First scenario, a category 4 or 5 hurricane.
I think that I would evacuate because when it comes to hurricane, I cannot trust my swimming skills, so I would probably go.
I would go because if it's a 4 or 5, it's probably very, very dangerous. And I've seen people after the hurricane, if they stayed, they're on their buildings just doing nothing. And sometimes they just starve to death.
I would definitely evacuate if there were a 4 or 5 hurricane because you already know it's dangerous, and so I would definitely leave.
An earthquake.
I think I would stay because I've experienced some earthquakes and it's really hard to predict. So during earthquake, it's better to stay home. But after an earthquake, I think I would still stay if it was not too devastating.
I would leave because if it was my first earthquake, I would leave because I wouldn't know what to do after an earthquake. And I'd probably look in the news and see what people are doing. And then the next earthquake, I'd probably stay and try to help them any way I can.
I think I would just stay where I was because since an earthquake, there's no warning or anything, and I would just stay.
A volcano eruption.
Oh, I would run and run as fast as I could because I'm really afraid of lava because I know that if it just touches you, you're dead. There was one story about the greatest volcano eruption in 1st century BC. It happened in Italy. Vesuv volcano erupted, and it covered 3 most major cities. And after many centuries, they found thousands and thousands of people dead and covered by lava.
I would leave also because you never know how far it'll go. And again, if it just touches you, you would die.
If a volcano eruption happened here, I am so out of here. Lava like burns you and it's like instant death. So I'm out of here. Yeah, I'm gone.
A chemical or biological disaster such as an acid leak.
I think I would stay home because I would have a roof over myself, and I think when something like that happens, home is the safest place.
I think that if it's a leak, then it'll probably go into our farming also, and that if it evaporates, it goes into our air. I would first I would put on the gas mask in my family and just get into the car and go as far as we can.
I think if there was an acid leak and it contaminated the air, I think I would just stay, I think, because if you went out, maybe it'd be even a more chance of you getting it, and maybe if you just stayed inside, you'd be more safe. So I think I'd stay.
A major bomb threat.
I would stay because I think it's safer to stay home, and when you're in the streets, there is more risk that you will see the bombers. So I don't know. I would stay.
I would stay in my own house. Probably just stay there. Put on as many what are those called? Fire blankets, and just go under a desk and stay there for a couple of hours until they say it's done.
I think I would leave. If I knew there were a bomb threat around me or even in the same city, I think I would leave.
During an evacuation, everyone is in a rush, running away or towards something. People really need to drive away as quickly as possible, and fuel is essential. We saw gas prices raised ridiculously high during Ike. In some places, as much as $1 more a gallon. What do you think causes this? Do you think some businesses are only watching out for themselves during times of crisis? And should there be laws preventing businesses from making large profits during dangerous times?
Yes, I think that's the only cause. Businessmen are thinking only about making profit during crisis, and I think there should be law which prevents that because people have already suffered enough and now they're paying so much.
I believe the same thing, but also that people, it's their lives we're talking about, and they just want money. And people, maybe half of the people aren't even in the crisis, and they're still trying to get money for it.
I think some people are definitely just watching out for themselves because they don't care what happens to other people. And then on the other hand, some people do care and they're trying to help. But I think that there definitely needs to be a law that people who do just watch out for themselves, that they can't do stuff like that anymore because it's really not nice.
We have all seen the photos of the damaged cities. Everything was broken and flooded. Houses had fallen, furniture was in the street. Roads were totally ruined, trees thrown around. You could even see an alligator on a highway. What do you think can or should be done to compensate for their losses?
I think that government should compensate everything, their house, their jobs, but step by step. I mean that they should not raise taxes of other people who have nothing to do with their loss.
I think that the government should have a tax reduction for all the people who were in the crisis, and that people of the crisis should have maybe half of their money sent back to them from the government so they don't be so much in debt.
I think that like FEMA should step in and help, and I think that people who do choose to live there, even though they know it's not safe, I think that we should still help them because this is America.
If you're watching TV during these days, you could see not only the population alarmed by the disaster, you could see some people walking on the beaches 20 feet away from their possible death, amused by the experience of the hurricane. What do you think can be so amusing about a disaster?
I think these people just don't get it how devastating a hurricane can be. They're like, oh, I know how to swim, it's just water. And some people even go out surfing during these days because they think that nothing will happen to them, but it's not like that. It's just because they haven't experienced something like this.
I think the only reason they're amused by it is because they think that nothing will happen to them and that people just want to have fun there. And also, the people who are surfing, they think they're the best.
I think that there's nothing amusing about disasters or hurricanes. I think people who do that don't even realize how much danger that they could be in, and just that like how the waves could pull them out, and so I think people don't think.
This kind of disaster may happen at any time. If you live by the sea, some people really like sea weather and the opportunity of living, walking on the beach, and swimming in the ocean anytime they want. But if you know that you're constantly in danger of a hurricane wiping out your home and city, is it worth it?
For me personally, it's not because I'm not really fond of sea weather and I don't like when it's windy and moisture. But for some people, if they're living it, I think it's worth for them.
I think they should not even be able to go by the sea making their houses because they know they're in danger and then the government will have to pay for it later on. And there's a limit of how far they have to be to even build a house there. I think they should make that to at least 200 feet.
I don't think it's worth it at all because if you already know that that's a place where hurricanes or floods or anything like that has been, then you know something could happen, so it's not worth it at all.
Should people and businesses be prevented from building in areas that we know will be devastated if a hurricane hits? Or should we continue letting people build houses and buildings near the seashores?
I think we should let them build houses because seaside is a really good tourist attraction, but I think there should be limits where they can build their houses. They should be a little further from the actual seashore.
I think we should let them build their houses and buildings, but they have to have a stronger frame, and that, again, they should be farther from the ocean, and probably maybe have more safety precautions.
I think that there should be a restriction where they have to be so many feet away so that their house won't get destroyed unless they have enough money to actually build a house that could stand against all of that, because they're starting to come up with new stuff like that.